Hey, I'm Nate Savage, and in this video, I'm going to teach you 8 fingerstyle guitar patterns that you need to know. So I've been playing a lot of gigs with my wife lately, and it ends up being that I play a lot of fingerstyle with her. I started switching to a thumb pick even because she does a lot of strumming, and then I accompany her with a lot of different fingerstyle patterns. That's just the way it's working out for the kind of gigs we're playing. So I started noticing these patterns that I use over and over again that are really useful for accompanying people, singers, that type of thing, on acoustic guitar, so I wanted to share those with you. The first one is just a very simple rolling pattern. This is a really important coordination to get down if you want to play fingerstyle guitar. So we're going to be using a C major chord for the most of this lesson, and then a C, F, G progression to kind of give you a musical application for these patterns. So the basic coordination is just thumb, index, middle, ring finger. And my thumb is getting generally the lowest root note for each chord. So in this case of a C chord, I'm playing the 5th string, the A string, and then my 3 fingers are playing the top 3 strings almost all the time for this type of stuff. But that's the basic pattern. And I'm using a thumb pick, so my wrist is kind of planted here on the bridge of the guitar. If you're playing more classical style, that's totally fine. It's really up to you. Either way is cool. But the basic coordination you have to get down is a really smooth thumb, index, middle, ring. And if you need to spend more time developing your accuracy with your thumb or your basic technique for your fingers, there are some videos that you should check out here on the channel that are a little bit more kind of beginner or fundamental. But you're going to notice when I'm doing rolling like this, as soon as my fingers come in, my thumb prepares, and as soon as my thumb hits the low A string there, my fingers shoot out and prepare to do the rest of the roll. So I end up with this kind of motion back and forth, even though, there you go, that's a really good shot of that. But that's the first one, and you just work on it with one chord and then put it in a progression. C, F, G, so that's a really nice one. It's very foundational. It's good to play in some song context when you have another guitar player that's strumming or something like that. The next 2 patterns are kind of variations of that. It starts off the same, so 1 and 2 and, pattern 2, and then you're going to alternate your bass with your thumb. So instead of the A string, the second time around, you're going to hit the D string. This is interesting because it gives you a little bit different shape, a little bit different feel to the accompaniment pattern. You have to be really accurate with your thumb. And it works for some songs, and some songs it doesn't work for. You just have to use your judgment as you play. But go very slowly. Actually look back and work on your aim. And one thing I would really recommend doing again, if you haven't developed the ability to just alternate between bass notes, work on that first. If you can, then put it with a progression. All right, the last pattern that uses this kind of rolling variation is pattern 3, and here it is. So what we're doing is kind of forcing this to roll up and then roll back down and forcing it to fit in 4 times. So you have 1 and 2 and, nothing different there, and then roll back down 3 and 4. But you have an and that you need, so grab it with your index finger. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, thumb, index. I'll do that really slowly. So it's a little bit different because you get that dun dun in the bass, so it makes it a little bit a more of a unique strumming pattern that will fit some songs better than others. And you can put it with a chord progression just like we did. All right, this next pattern deviates and goes in a completely different direction. And this one, again, works with some songs better than others. So my bass is alternating between the 3 lowest strings in this C chord, just constant. So A string, D string, G string, D string. That's the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all I'm doing is throwing in a high E string with my middle finger between each note with my thumb. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so again, a pretty different accompaniment pattern that you can choose from depending on the song, and you can put a progression once you get it down with the C chord. This next pattern is kind of the inverse of that. So we're going to keep our bass note constant on the same note. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. And in between each bass note, we're going to stick an index, then a middle, then a ring, and then one more middle. So you end up with this. So the last one was this, and this one flips things around. So and again, take this very slowly with one chord, and then you can stick it in whatever progression you like. Here's the CFG again. All right, 3 patterns left. This next one gets us into the coordination that we need to start playing some Travis picking, which is really cool. And all you're gonna do is play on your C chord, get steady quarter notes going with your thumb. And then in between each quarter note there, just put index, then middle on the high B and E string. So something like this. Okay, so thumb, index on B, thumb, middle on the high E. And that's the entire pattern. You just repeat that over and over again. It's a really nice accompaniment pattern for folk music or church music. Not too hard. So work on that with the one chord. And then you can put it with a chord progression. The next pattern takes this to the next level and throws in some alternating bass with that exact same pattern. So instead of staying on the C, what we're going to do is just alternate between that C on the A string and then that E on the D string. So again, if you need to work on this alternating bass on its own first, I'd highly recommend that. But same pattern, thumb, index on the B, then thumb on the D string, middle finger on the high E. And that's the whole pattern. Now you're starting to get into the fundamental coordination you need to start doing like some Travis picking, but this is like a super common pattern that you're gonna hear in a lot of folk music. So super nice to do when somebody else is strumming. There it is with the chord progression there. But take it really slow at first, stay on that C as long as you need to, very slowly. Just ramp it up as you go. It may take a while, but that's okay. This last finger picking pattern is really important. If you can get the coordination for this one down, it opens a lot of doors for you. And if you've ever heard this song, you'll know what I'm talking about. Dust in the Wind, right? That's what a lot of guitar players aspire to play if they're into fingerstyle. So I'm going to teach you a pattern that's similar to that. Okay, here's the pattern. You basically just have a constant 8-note alternating bass pattern with your thumb. Just keep that in mind as we go through this. And there are only 3 notes on top for the entire pattern with your fingers. So it starts off like this, middle finger on the B string and thumb at the same time. And then you alternate to the D string with your thumb, and then the open G string with your index finger. That's the first little bit. Only worry about this one note at a time. So start with the first note, just that. And then throw the next thumb in. Take this one at a time. That's the best way to do this. Really train your brain to where those notes are and the order of them. Then throw the next one in. So middle and thumb at the same time, thumb, index. Then you have another thumb on the root note. Somebody play that for you. Just live there for a while till you have that memorized. And then throw in another B string with your middle finger. And then finally, to finish off the pattern, you just alternate with your thumb back to the D string. That's the entire pattern. It may seem really tricky at first, but slow it down, be really methodical about it. Look at the tab. And then just start looping it over and over again. And that kind of playing is used so much in so many different kinds of music. So once you have it down for that chord, you can throw it on an F chord. The only thing that changes here is you're alternating between the low E and A strings. And then the G chord, same thing too. So once you have it down, work on the individual chords and then you can put it together in a progression. So I know that's a lot of information, but don't feel like you have to tackle all of these fingerstyle patterns at once. Just print out the PDF, put it in your stack of stuff to practice and be really consistent with it. Take it one at a time and you will get better. So how long have you been playing fingerstyle guitar and what are some of your favorite patterns that you've come across over the years? See you later. Cool.